For nearly 1,500 years, ancient Egypt was silent. Its temples were covered in symbols. Its tombs were filled with inscriptions. Its monuments seemed to speak of kings, gods, death, and eternity, but no one could read them. The birds, the eyes, the snakes, the suns, these famous hieroglyphics were everywhere, carved into walls and stone across Egypt. People could admire them, they could copy them, they could guess at them, but they could not understand them. Then, in 1822, everything changed. Because of one broken stone, a lost civilization began to speak again. This is the story of the Rosetta Stone, and the moment humanity recovered the voice of ancient Egypt. Before the 19th century, Egypt was one of history's greatest mysteries. Travelers stood before the pyramids in awe. They wandered through temples lined with giant statues. They looked at walls filled with strange and beautiful writing, but that writing was unreadable. For centuries, many scholars misunderstood hieroglyphics. Some thought they were only symbolic pictures. Others believed they were secret religious signs. That belief kept the mystery alive. Ancient Egypt could be studied from the outside, but not understood from within. It was like standing inside a vast library while being unable to read a single book. And then, by chance, the key appeared. The story begins during war. In 1799, near the town of Rosetta, French soldiers uncovered a dark stone slab. It was broken and incomplete, but it carried something extraordinary. 3 kinds of writing had been carved into it. At the bottom was Greek, in the middle was Demotic, and at the top were hieroglyphics. That discovery changed everything. Greek could already be read, so scholars quickly realized that this stone might contain the same message written 3 times. The Rosetta Stone was not just an ancient object, it was a bridge between worlds. The Greek text turned out to be a decree issued in 196 BC on behalf of King Ptolemy V. It was not a secret prophecy or a hidden map, but that did not matter. Its importance was that the same decree appeared in 3 scripts. Still, the puzzle was far more difficult than it seemed. Hieroglyphics were not a simple alphabet. They were part picture, part sound, part symbol. This was not a code with a neat one-to-one solution. It was a full writing system, complex, layered, and ancient. And for more than 20 years, scholars struggled to unlock it. Some of Europe's brightest minds worked on the problem. One of them was the English scholar Thomas Young. He made important progress, especially by studying royal names written inside oval shapes called cartouches. Young began to suspect some hieroglyphs represented sounds, but the full breakthrough came from a French scholar, Jean-François Champollion. Champollion was fascinated by Egypt from a young age. He had one advantage that proved decisive. He knew Coptic. Coptic was the later form of the ancient Egyptian language. Champollion believed that ancient Egyptian had not vanished completely. It had survived in a changed form. That insight was the turning point. He began comparing names such as Ptolemy and Cleopatra across Greek and hieroglyphic inscriptions. Slowly, he began to identify sounds. In 1822, Champollion made his breakthrough public. He showed that hieroglyphics were not purely symbolic. They were a mixed system. That was the key. Once scholars understood that, the door finally opened. Names emerged first, then titles, then prayers and historical records. For the first time in many centuries, the monuments of Egypt were no longer mute. The walls of temples could be read. The words of kings could be understood. The decipherment of the Rosetta Stone transformed history. Before 1822, much of what the world believed came from outsiders. After Champollion's breakthrough, Egypt could begin to speak for itself. Archaeology became more than digging up ruins. It became the study of a civilization through its own words. Ancient Egypt was no longer only a land of pyramids, mummies, and mystery. It became a civilization with names, beliefs, and memory. What makes this story so remarkable is that the Rosetta Stone itself was not grand. It was broken, incomplete, easy to overlook. And yet it changed the way humanity understood one of the greatest civilizations in history. Ancient Egypt was silent no longer. A broken stone had given a lost civilization its voice back.